The moment the schedule dropped, fans didn't just see another game, they saw a storyline. A season opener that immediately sparked questions, comparisons, and a wave of online debate. Not because something controversial happened on the court yet, but because of what might happen. Because of what this matchup represents. Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers. Two of the most talked about names in women's basketball over the past few years. And now, according to recent discussions, fans are already circling their potential season-opening clash as more than just a game. But here's where things get interesting. This isn't just hype. This isn't just social media noise. There are real reasons why fans are questioning the situation, analyzing the setup, and wondering what it all means for the WNBA moving forward. So what exactly is going on here? Why are fans reacting this strongly? And is this moment being overanalyzed? Or does it actually signal something bigger? Let's break it down. To understand the situation, you have to start with context. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA with unprecedented attention. Her college career wasn't just successful, it was historic. Record-breaking scoring, massive TV ratings, and a style of play that brought new eyes to the sport. On the other side, Paige Bueckers has been one of the most highly regarded players of her generation as well. While injuries affected parts of her college journey, her talent, court vision, and overall impact have never really been in question. When healthy, she's consistently been viewed as one of the most complete players in the game. Now, depending on timing, team situations, and league scheduling, the idea of these two players facing off early in a season, especially in a season opener, naturally creates buzz. And that's where the conversation begins. Reports suggest that once fans noticed the potential for this matchup, the reaction wasn't just excitement, it was curiosity mixed with concern, speculation, and debate. Some fans are asking, is this being set up intentionally? Others are wondering, is this fair pressure on young players? And some are simply saying, this is exactly what the league needs. But before jumping to conclusions, it's important to separate confirmed facts from interpretation. The confirmed reality is simple. The WNBA's schedule is designed to maximize viewership, highlight star power, and create compelling matchups. That's not unusual, that's standard practice in professional sports. Leagues across all sports often place high-profile players in marquee matchups early in the season. It builds momentum, drives ratings, and sets the tone. So from that perspective, if Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers are positioned in a major opening game, it wouldn't be shocking. It would actually be expected. But here's where analysis comes in. Fans aren't just reacting to the matchup, they're reacting to what it represents. For years, women's basketball has been growing steadily. But recently, that growth has accelerated, and players like Clark and Bueckers have played a major role in that shift. So when fans see them potentially matched up right away, the reaction isn't just about competition, it's about narrative. According to recent discussions, some fans feel like this is being framed as a rivalry before it's even fully developed at the professional level. And that's where opinions start to differ. On one side, you have fans who love the idea. They see this as the next step in the evolution of the league. Big names, big moments, and high-stakes games right from the start. From this perspective, putting Clark and Bueckers in a spotlight game early isn't pressure, it's opportunity. It's a chance to showcase talent, attract viewers, and elevate the entire league. But on the other side, some fans are more cautious. They're questioning whether this kind of spotlight, this early, creates unrealistic expectations. Because while both players are incredibly talented, transitioning from college to the WNBA is not simple. The level of competition is higher, the physicality is different, and the pace of the game can take time to adjust to. So when a season opener becomes a headline event, it changes the way performances are judged. A strong game becomes a statement. A struggling game becomes a storyline. And that's not always fair. That's why some fans are asking whether the situation is being overhyped. Not because the players don't deserve attention, but because the narrative might outpace the reality. And this brings us to another layer of the discussion: the role of media and fan culture. In today's sports environment, narratives develop quickly. Social media amplifies every moment, every stat line, every highlight, and every mistake. So when fans are already debating a potential season opener before it happens, it shows how quickly expectations can build. According to recent discussions, some fans are even comparing this to past moments in sports where young players were immediately placed into high-pressure situations. Sometimes it works out perfectly. Sometimes it takes time. And sometimes, the conversation becomes bigger than the game itself. That's why it's important to look at both players individually, not just as part of a storyline. Caitlin Clark's game is built around scoring, range, and playmaking. Her ability to stretch the floor and create offense is unique, and it translates well to the professional level, but it still requires adjustment. Paige Bueckers, on the other hand, is often praised for her efficiency, decision-making, and overall balance as a player. Her style is different, but equally impactful. So when fans talk about this matchup, it's not just about who wins. It's about contrasting styles. It's about how each player adapts. And it's about how their games evolve at the next level. That's what makes the conversation interesting, but also complex. Because there's no simple outcome that defines either player. And yet, fans know that if this game happens early in the season, it will be analyzed in exactly that way. One performance could dominate headlines. One stat line could shape narratives. And that's where the pressure becomes real. But there's another perspective worth considering. Maybe this isn't about pressure at all. Maybe it's about trust. The league trusting its young stars to deliver. The fans trusting the growth of the game. And the players trusting their own preparation. Because at the end of the day, both Clark and Bueckers have already performed under pressure before. They've played in big games. They've handled expectations. They've dealt with scrutiny. So while the WNBA stage is different, it's not entirely new territory. Still, the difference now is visibility. The spotlight is bigger. The audience is larger. And the conversation is louder. That's why fan reactions are so divided. Some see this moment as exciting. Others see it as risky. And many are simply watching, waiting to see how it plays out. According to recent discussions, one of the most common reactions is curiosity. Not necessarily concern. Not necessarily criticism. Just curiosity. How will these players perform? How will the teams approach the matchup? And how will the narrative shift after the game? Because no matter what happens, the conversation won't end when the final buzzer sounds. It will continue. It will evolve. And it will likely influence how both players are viewed moving forward. That's the reality of modern sports. Moments don't just happen, they're interpreted. They're debated. And sometimes, they're exaggerated. So when fans question the situation around a potential season opener between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, they're not just reacting to a schedule. They're reacting to everything that comes with it. The expectations, the narratives, the implications. And that brings us to a deeper question. What does this mean for the league as a whole? Because beyond individual players, this situation reflects a larger shift. The WNBA is gaining attention. It's generating conversation. And it's becoming part of the mainstream sports dialogue in a way that continues to grow. High-profile matchups, increased coverage, and rising fan engagement are all signs of that progress. So in that sense, a heavily discussed season opener isn't a problem. It's a sign of growth. But growth also comes with challenges. Managing expectations. Balancing narratives. And ensuring that players are evaluated fairly, not just through the lens of hype. That's why this moment matters. Not because of one game, but because of what it represents. A league evolving, a fanbase expanding, and a new generation of players stepping into the spotlight. So as fans continue to react, debate, and analyze, it's worth remembering one thing. This is just the beginning. One game doesn't define a season. One matchup doesn't define a career. And one narrative doesn't capture the full story. But it does start a conversation. And sometimes, that's enough to change everything. So here's the question that remains. Are fans overanalyzing a simple season opener? Or are they recognizing a turning point in how the game is seen, discussed, and experienced? Because depending on how you look at it, this isn't just about Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. It's about where the WNBA is right now, and where it's headed next.